Honey, hi all. Thanks for joining me again today for another read-along of the book Gidjie and the Wolves. Last time we read the chapter The Sanctuary, and today we're gonna read Whiskers. Gidjie, our turtle friend requires 3 short calls on a snapjaw, Nookamis says, waking her up from a nap. Please fill up this jar. That should do the trick. She hands her a small glass jar with a lid. Gidjie puts it into her shoulder bag. Is she going to be okay? Gidjie concerns, rubbing her eyes. I believe so, but we need the short calls, Gidjie. The short calls, please, my girl. Nookamis motions her up out of the hammock. Gidjie looks around but doesn't see Carver. He went home, Nookamis says. His mother sent for him. Gidjie notices the basket is moving. She lifts the lid. It's Carver's little raccoon cousin, AC, who is helping himself to some fruit. Hey, AC, she greets him. Hi, Gidjie, he says, waving a sticky paw at her. She puts the lid back on and walks to where small harvesting baskets hang nearby. Be mindful of Whiskers. I saw her outside a bit ago, Nookamis informs Gidjie. I will, Gidjie says, stepping out onto the lift. Take your asema, my girl, Nookamis reminds her. Asema is traditional tobacco. Although Nookamis is not Anishinaabe and doesn't use asema herself, she uses certain powdered minerals as offerings. She encourages Gidjie to do so. Gidjie stops on the second floor where their sleeping quarters are and grabs her little asema pouch off of the table near the entrance to the lift. She tucks it into a pocket before getting back on the lift and heading up to the Animals Are Aware's shop level. Gidjie exits the lift and notices that the shop is looking tidy. The merchants are good at maintaining their individual shop nooks and helping each other out as needed. It's been a short day for human business because of the turtle incident, and the merchants are now getting their wares in proper shape for the night barter, which occurs every night between all beings except humans. She flips the sign in the window from open to closed and walks over to the hand crank behind the counter. She hefts on it in a counterclockwise direction, raising the stone slabs to cover the windows. The glowing light fixtures along the walls come on. They will illuminate the shop until the slabs are again lowered. Gidjie exits the shop and walks into the late afternoon sun, in search of turtle medicine she's never gathered before. The way I see it, if I'm bringing a foreign predator into a community of creatures who might be alarmed to see this predator near their homes and families, it is my responsibility to alert the community of the presence. I wouldn't set a lion loose in the Midwestern scrublands and expect zero grief, would I? Gidjie looks down at the black fluffy cat, who had met her just outside the shop door and now walks beside her. The fluff ball looks up happily at Gidjie with bright yellow eyes before trotting quickly ahead of her towards the start of the forest path. Gidjie sounds a crow-style alarm call for cat. Whiskers hunkers down. She turns around, giving Gidjie a look as if to say she was spoiling her fun. She slinks back and plops down at Gidjie's feet. Gidjie digs in her shoulder bag, making sure she has the jar for harvesting the 3 short calls on a snapjaw. Well, Whiskers, what do you expect? You're a cat. What was I supposed to say? I'm not about to be responsible for your thievery of fledglings or young chipmunks. Not after what happened last time. Gidjie looks down at the aloof creature who was rolling around on her back. Last time, Whiskers hadn't only killed a nest full of robin chicks, but didn't even eat a single one. The robin parents had visited Zoobug the next day, and Whiskers wasn't seen for a little while after that. Gidjie never knew what happened exactly, but figured Whiskers must have had to deal with the grievances of the robin parents in one way or another. Whiskers shoots Gidjie a look of half shame, half, "What do you expect? Like you said, I'm a cat." Fair enough, Gidjie tells her. As long as we do our best to keep a balance, that's what matters. They make their way to the entrance of the path. The little chickadees that had been hopping around on the lower branches of a white cedar tree were now up high, with all eyes on Whiskers. Gidjie loves the cedar and spruce trees here, They're big enough that she can walk upright under the lowest branches without ruffling her hair, and the forest floor is soft with moss and evergreen needles from the pines. Whiskers runs fast ahead when she sees her favorite scratching tree, just inside the start of the trail. She gives a long stretch up it, accentuating every one of her hairs as she makes her display of claw-sharpening approval. She turns to Gidjie when she's finished, requesting a scratch on her head to verify Gidjie did see her display and is welcoming of her on her walk despite their differences. "We're looking for 3 short calls on a snapjaw," she tells Whiskers, acknowledging her with a head scritch. "I don't suppose you've seen any snapjaws recently." Whiskers purrs loud, lifting her haunches high under the scritch of Gidjie's fingernails. "The only snapjaw I know about is old Akiwe. Last time I saw her, she was at the river near the bend." The bend in the river where the local snapjaw likes to hang out happens to be where the closest human neighbors, Whiskers humans, like to go trout fishing in the summertime. "Well," Gidjie says, "I don't think it's trout season yet, so we should be okay." She looks down at Whiskers. "What am I saying? It's not like you have any reason to avoid them." What Gidjie knows about the neighbors is that they've lived in the house a mile down the road for about 5 years. There's Whiskers, a mother, a father, and 2 boys, one just older than Gidjie and the other several years younger. She's only interacted with them in the shop a couple of times. The first time they came to check out the place was shortly after they moved in. They've only been back 1 time since, and that was because there was too much snow for them to make it to one of the towns along the North Shore for supplies. The only other time Gidjie has had interactions with the family is when the father and eldest boy were out fishing a couple of years ago. In addition to the fact that Gidjie is afraid of unpredictable human behavior, she also typically has a hard time holding conversations with strangers without becoming anxious and uncomfortable. Add on top of that the fact that when she usually runs into strangers by herself, it's in the middle of the woods, making whoever it is she runs into extra curious and questioning of her being there. This leads to more anxiety, as her explanations regarding what she's doing usually results in a blank stare by the humans, followed by more questions. What would you say to a girl you run into out in the woods when she tells you she's gathering 3 short calls on a snapjaw to help heal a turtle? And that is the end of the chapter. Next time we will be reading Akiwe and the Chickadee. Thanks for joining me again today as we read from Gidjie and the Wolves. I hope you will join me next time. Gigawabamin, Minowa, Nagudge, Miigwech.